So we came across the issue of just a random metal peg when we were repurposing this, and after having that and almost ruining a mortising bit,
not good.
This thing was my first purchase that day. I went ahead, it's going to be a metal detector, and hopefully it will detect the metal in this piece, because I know even though we removed this side because we drilled into it, we cracked this open, we found there's a metal peg in here as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this fired up, test it out, and see if it's gonna work for us. If it does, this thing will pay for itself with the first piece of metal it finds when we reclaim or repurpose furniture, especially if you're using pallet wood. But even on a piece of furniture like this, we would never have guessed that there was a piece of metal pegged randomly in that door. So if you use this, you detect that, you'll save yourself a mortising bit. First time, this thing paid for itself. So let's check it out. Freaking comes with its own battery. I'll probably use an Energizer though, just because I don't want any issues in the future. We'll go with the freebie. Alright, so we fired this up. You saw it picked up my Leatherman, no problem, and we thought, yeah, of course it's going to. It's metal sitting on the table. But I noticed, look at this, just the attachments from below my workbench, it is already picking up the screws. That's pretty amazing. This thing is probably 1.5 inches thick, as well as there's 2x4s underneath this, but those are big screws. So let's see if it can find that small peg in this door. So we know that that peg is pretty much right in this zone. So we're gonna go ahead and check this out, and we're gonna see how well she works. Now, I don't want it to pick up that metal right there, so we're gonna move it slightly over, because as you can see, there is no metal right here. So let's go ahead and check this out. So you can see that this thing works pretty well, and if it saves us one time when we're recutting into something that we're repurposing and there's random metal pieces in there, say on the table saw, not only will it save us chipping that blade, but also a safety concern, because you imagine if a spinning table saw blade hits a chunk of metal, what that could do in an issue with the table saw. That kickback could be drastic. You damage the blade, or worse, you damage yourself. So a couple of features that is on this device is this little orange button here. It clicks in or out, and what that does is it changes it to where it can beep, or if I click it in, now it just vibrates. Also, you can change the sensitivity here. So we have this piece of metal, we know that there's metal right here, and see how it picks it up, but if we reduce the sensitivity, it does not pick it up, but it still picks up the piece of metal right there. So you can change how deep you want to sense it, and as well as the notification if it's vibrate or if it's a buzz. For us in the woodworking world, that really doesn't matter unless you really get annoyed by the beep sound, but the sensitivity, I would always encourage people to keep it at the highest. That way we can find pieces of metal no matter what. But we wanted to share this, especially with this last project we came through. there was no way to predict that there was a piece of metal in this door. I mean, the little peg, metal peg in there, no idea why it was put in there at that purpose, but we found it now, and in the future, we won't have to worry about damaging ourselves or our equipment. So until next time, thanks for buzzing by. Now you go make some dust.